the ticket agent asked for a digital immigration card, and we were like, excuse me, say what? Like, what is that? Hi, it's your girl Dawn. Thank you so much for joining me here today. As the title states, I'll be sharing with you more about my recent trip to Curacao. I went to Curacao to celebrate my best friend's birthday, and I had an amazing time. So I wanted to do a quick video of tips to prepare before you go to Curacao, some quick facts, how I booked my trip, as well as more information about my experience and what to expect when you possibly visit Curacao. So if this sounds like something you'll be interested in, please stay tuned. And if you enjoy this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. So let's jump right in. I'm going to start with some quick facts about Curacao, as it isn't a really common island that people visit. Actually, they don't get much tourism there, but it is a beautiful island. So Curacao is located, and if I'm looking down, I'm looking at my iPad for my notes. Curacao is an island just 40 miles out of Venezuela, and it is commonly known as an island that is a part of the ABC Islands, which include Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. They're very close to each other, but not alphabetically. It's actually Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, but they're very close to one another. Curacao is under the rule of many different nations. So when you visit Curacao, there are at least 50 nationalities represented. When me and my best friend went, there were a lot of people who looked just like us. Black people, different hues of brown, but then we also saw people who look to be white, people who have like a had Spanish features, so many different nationalities. So reason being is because it's been ruled by many different nations. The most recent nation is Dutch, so you'll find a lot of Dutch, Portuguese, Spanish, and French within their language. Their dialect is actually called, and forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, Papiamento. When I hear it, I hear a lot of Spanish, but it is made up of Dutch, Portuguese, Spanish, and English, and a little bit of French. And I say I hear a lot of Spanish because when I asked where the bathroom was, they said baño. I hear them responding sí when they're saying yes. So there is quite a bit of Spanish in there. I will say, if you just simply ask them, can you speak English? They're quickly able to pivot and change the language, and I appreciated that because they came to me speaking in their dialect, but when I asked them to speak English, they were able to speak that. So I love that. I wish I could speak another language. Curacao has 35 beautiful beaches, and because of where it is located in the world, the island, it is not heavily affected by hurricanes, so it's perfect for deep water diving activities. And I'll share with you some of the deep water activities that Shanice and I, my best friend, actually participated while there. So that's just quick facts about Curacao. I know it's not an island that many people talk about, but it is equally beautiful as any Caribbean island. So now I'm going to jump into what to do or how to prepare before you enter into Curacao. So 4 main things that you're going to need. One is a valid passport, and I recommend your passport not expiring within the year, because some countries, especially with COVID and the travel restrictions, they won't let you enter into the country if it's within 6 months or 3 months, like if your expiration is within 6 or 3 months. In addition to that, you're gonna also need negative COVID test results. So I learned this from my last trip to Aruba. I wasn't able to board the plane because I didn't have my test results handy. So they would like you to supply those results before you even get on the plane. And I recommend you going to a rapid testing center in your local area so that you can get those results right on hand. I went to Newark, urgent care here in Delaware, and they were able to give me my results within 30 minutes. So you do have to set up an appointment. In most rapid testing places, you do have to set up an appointment beforehand, but I find it to be very beneficial as far as getting your test results immediately. In addition to that, so these are two things that we didn't know before going. So when we got up to the desk, we had our test results, we had our passport, but the ticket agent asked for a digital immigration card, and we were like, excuse me, say what? Like, what is that? So usually you'll fill out that immigration card when you're on the plane. Usually they give you like a little card, a little index card. You fill it out before you land. But Curacao wants you to fill it out before you even get on the plane. So we were easily able to find it online on Curacao.com, and I will include in the links in the description. Find it on Curacao.com. You can quickly fill it out, and it's simple questions. Excuse me, like where are you staying, where you're coming from, how long you're gonna be there, identifying questions like your name, your passport, things of that nature. So it's a quick form to fill out. I recommend you printing it. We did show it on our phone, but just in case your phone doesn't have service for some reason internationally, or when you're on a plane, just you can print it out just to be safe. But we didn't print it out. We had it on our phone, and it did work. Now, upon landing in the Curacao and going through customs, you will need a PLC form or PLC card. And what that stands for is passenger locator card. That's another thing we didn't know we needed, because where we booked through a third-party vendor, and they didn't really explain to us everything that we need. But luckily, they did have physical copies of like the card or form that you have to fill out in the airport. But just to be safe, you can fill out this PLC card 48 hours before you leave. And the form is basically asking you, it's kind of put in place because of COVID. So it's asking you about your medical histories, asking you about where you live, how, you know, some things from the immigration card, but it's just another measure they're taking to make sure that you're safe, as they know that people may be traveling from higher risk countries like the USA. So those are the 4 things you need: passport, negative COVID test results, PLC card, immigration card. If you have those things, you should not have a problem entering into Curacao. So now I'm gonna jump into how I booked my trip. So I told you I went through a third party or a traveling site, and the name of the traveling site is cheapcaribbean.com. I actually booked my trip last year to Aruba through cheapcaribbean.com, and like I stated earlier, I wasn't able to go, so they gave us credits for another trip. So we used those credits from our last trip to this trip. But essentially, we still had to come out of pocket at least a little over $300, not too much. And essentially, we paid a little over $1,100 each for the trip, and it includes stay and airport or your flight. Let's see. We was there for 5 days and 4 nights, and we flew through American. And let me tell you something. If y'all have not gotten on a plane since the pandemic, I wouldn't recommend American. If you cannot fly, if you can fly anything else than American, I would recommend it, because American is gonna try to get their money, and they're gonna pack you on there like sardines. They don't do every other seat. Of course, I was sitting in economy, and it was like 3 seats per row, and I'm in the middle. Most times you don't know the person next to you. I ain't see them wiping nothing down. So, you know, just be mindful of that. I think Delta does every other seat, and there's another airline that does every other seat. So just check to see how they operate before you book. But if you can book through another flight or through a different airline, please do so. Because I didn't love that I was sitting up on top of people. Like, I know we all had negative COVID results, but still, you know. As far as where we stayed at the Marriott Resort in Curacao. It is the only Marriott on the island, and it's right on Pescadero Beach or Pescadero Road. The resort was beautiful, but it's kind of like any other Marriott or modern day Marriott that you may have visited. It is not all inclusive, so you do have to pay for food and drinks, but they do have, it said on the website they had 6 different dining experiences on the resort, but I only saw 3, so maybe I missed out another 3. But they do have restaurants that you can partake in on, that you can partake in on the resort. The food is okay. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I compare it, I think about the food that I ate at Dreams in Tulum. A bit pricey, but I understand how that works. Cause like a cheeseburger was like $18. It's like, okay. But I will say the breakfast was really good. So yeah, they have 3 restaurants on the resort. They have 2 pools. One is adults only, another one is for the kids. It is an adult only resort, so there will be little kitties running around. They have a beach in this backyard, you know, gym, regular hotel amenities. But it was it's a really nice resort. I do recommend it. The resort is only 15 minutes away from the airport, so it's very close. I do recommend you renting a car. We did get a taxi when we left the airport. It's like $30. And we was like, let's just get a car. So on the resort, they do have Hertz, and we rented a car for approximately $210 for the 5 days we were staying there. I don't think that's too bad. And I feel like it was a good investment because we were able to see much more of the island than we probably would have saw if we had to, you know, hail a taxi every day. So I do recommend purchasing or renting a car, and they drive on our side of the road. So, well, if you're from the USA, they drive on our side of the road, so it's not that hard. I will say the street signs are not that apparent. So you're just gonna have to trust the GPS. And I did use Google Maps. Apple Maps does not have maps for Curacao, so I recommend you using Google Maps. And since we're talking about apps, I'm going a little bit off track, but Currency app. The Currency app is a good app to you know, do the currency exchange. Our money, or USD, is, for every USD dollar, it's worth $1.75 in Curacao. So our money does go a little bit further over there. But when you see it on the menu, it can look like $18. But just make sure you ask, is this USD or is this in their money, which is called Guler? Ask them if it's in Guler or if it's in USD, and if it's in Guler, you can use the app to quickly see how much it would be in USD. So I do recommend that, Google Maps and Currency app. So let's talk about what we did. So while there, we pretty much just hung out by the pool. We took advantage of the beach. We went to a couple of restaurants off the resort, which was nice. I'm going to share these restaurants now. So we went to Kome restaurant. It was really good. Like, oh my God, it was so good. I had a chicken sandwich with, it had coleslaw, pickles, a little sauce on it, a little Parmesan fries on the side. I loved it. It was good. And my best friend had chicken and waffles, and it was really good. Like, it was really good. We also went to Tropez. And it's a part of a hotel, a boutique hotel in Curacao. The restaurant is a part of that hotel, but it's just off the water. Beautiful, beautiful restaurant. It's outside. Can be a little warm because you're outside, but beautiful. In the food, oh my God. Okay, we also went to Pirate Bay. That restaurant is a little bit more casual. They have a bar. It is off a beach, so if you're interested in like eating and going to the beach, it has a beach right in its backyard. Nothing to, you know, write home to mom about. But that was a pretty popular restaurant, and that restaurant is only 2 minutes away. And I will say, a lot of stuff was in the vicinity. Like, our resort, from the 2 restaurants I previously mentioned, it was only like 10-13 minutes away, so it's nothing is too far. We also went to, oh, we didn't go to this one, but this restaurant is right next to Pirate Bay, and it's called Visserj. There was such a long line outside of that restaurant, so we was like, oh my god, we want to try this, because if it's a long line, that means the food is good. Fortunately, they was closed on certain days, so we wasn't able to try it. But if you're in the area, I do recommend it, because the line was so long, so I just assume the food is good. So those are some of the places that we ate. As far as excursion, we did one excursion, and it was powered by a company named Aquafari. And basically, it's a scooter underneath the water. You go 24 feet under the water. It's approximately $115 per person, USD. You can pay an additional amount for if you want pictures down there, which we did. So it was like, I think it was like $25 for 35 pictures. So I thought that was great. Basically, you're on a scooter. You go underneath and you have a helmet on your head. They have oxygen that lasts for about an hour and 30 minutes. That pumps into your helmet so that you can breathe underneath the water. It's really good. It was really fun. It was beautiful. I'll insert some pictures. It was amazing. We got to see some rainbow fish, some zebrafish. They said we could possibly see a sea turtle. We didn't see the sea turtle. I wish we did. But everything else was so good. Like, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. Things to think about before you do that. Your ears do pop, so if you have sensitive ears, you might find that to be an issue. They don't recommend people who have diabetes, pregnant, who are claustrophobic to do it. But other than that, I do recommend. It was so fun, so scenic, and it was just like, I couldn't believe I did it. Like, it was amazing. Lastly, I'm gonna talk about the current regulations in Curacao. So when we left Wednesday. I want to say that was the 24th, March 24th. We left, and the island had went back under restrictions. Like, they had shut back down because COVID cases had risen. So currently they have a curfew from 9 p.m. until 4:30 a.m. And only thing that's going to be open is supermarkets, pharmacies, hardware stores, gas stations. Restaurants can provide delivery service only between noon and 8 p.m. And local and visitors are entitled to drive 2 days per week to take care of essential business. So doesn't seem like it's a good time to visit right now because they shut down. So hopefully they open back up soon. We had received a paper when we was at the resort, and it was saying, like, if you have this letter on your license plate, you can be on the road on this day. If you have this letter, you can be on the road on this day. So they're really kind of strict about their restrictions. And I can understand why, because some of them wasn't wearing masks. But, so I would just, maybe think about that if you're planning to book a trip soon. They are under lockdown right now. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment. Let me know. If you've been to Curacao, let me know. And thank you so much for joining me.